Welcome into another episode of Clipboard Conversations, our festive set here. John Foke alongside head coach James Borrego. Let me be the first coach to say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We're coming up on it. So as usual here on this program, we're going to take your questions in our Ask JB segment. So we thank you all for submitting those. We're going to take a look at the road ahead as the Hornets have a busy stretch here over this week with a couple of back-to-backs before they get that holiday break. And first, we'll start with the trends as we usually do.
Is this your tree?
I had this tree at home, yes.
That, okay.
Where's the gift underneath it?
Yeah, right. Some shoes right there.
Coach, as we look at the trends here, defense is trending in the right direction. As I looked at it last night on the plane coming back from Indianapolis, number 7 over the last 4 games in defensive rating and number 1 in rebounding. So you guys have talked a lot about improving in those areas, and now you're starting to see those come to fruition.
Yeah, both of those that you talked about, the rebounding is a focus for us, and it's really just been about that, the focus, the attention to it, hitting somebody. We should be a very good defensive rebounding team. We understand that, we know that. We're putting in more effort, more focus there, winning the possession game, not turning it over, winning the boards, and we've done that. I think we're trending the right way, as you said, and defensively as well. So we're seeing some good upticks in both of those areas. There's a focus there, and it's keeping us in games and winning us games. So we got to continue to do that.
And with that being said, that Chicago game, I feel like your defense kept you right there when the shots weren't falling and gave you an opportunity there at the end.
For sure, our defense won us that game and the board, right? I think that was one of our most physical defensive rebounding performances. As we talked about last night, I think it was the number 2 most defensive rebounds that game, in all the NBA. So give our guys credit, the attention, the physicality, the attention there, and then to hold the team to 73, anytime, anywhere in the NBA is a real positive. So our guys are focused. They understand that's what's allowing us to stay in games and win games.
60 rebounds against Chicago, and then over the last 2 games, gave up just 10 points in the third quarter to the Bulls, just 13 points in the third quarter to Indianapolis. Now, as a whole, it's a 48-minute game, but you can look at kind of those quarters and say, hey, maybe this was as good a defensive quarter as we could have put together in a couple of those games.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming out strong in there in the second half, making our mark on the defensive end. I think when we lock in, and we have to play for 48 minutes, we understand that. We cannot let up any quarter, but I think especially in these third quarters, we've done a very good job starting the half and having attention to the defensive end for sure.
You got the injury to P.J. Washington, and I know you said you've got a lot of guys that you could slide in there at that spot, and it might be game to game, but in that first one against Indiana, Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo started. Both those guys had double-doubles. You won the rebounding game once again. Those guys had never played together this season. How were they able to kind of pick things up and play so well together without having a whole lot of time on the floor together?
Well, they're both very smart players. They understand how to play the game. I thought they fit nicely. Obviously, Cody stretching the floor a little bit more this season, having a little more range this season. He can play out on the perimeter some. They fit, and obviously defensively we feel very comfortable with both of them. And I felt bigger out there. I felt like we could own the paint a little bit more. I think we only lost the paint by 2 points against a very good paint team in Indiana. So we won the board. I just like their physicality, the size, the defense, the rebounding, the backside. Even if Biz goes to help, Cody's on the backside of that. If Cody goes to help, Biz is on the backside of that. So we like that, and it could be something we use moving forward. With PJ in the lineup or not, it's something we'll continue to look at. But those 2 guys played well last night. It's something that we got to keep our eye on. Tomorrow night might be different. Against Sacramento, it's a different lineup. Indiana starts 2 traditional bigs. Sacramento's a little bit smaller at the 4 spot. So, but I'm open to both.
And against Indiana, not only kept it close in the paint, you kept them well below their average in terms of points in the paint. They're very good in that area. Cody Zeller turning the corner and attacking the paint, I thought that was a great way to kind of utilize both those guys, and he could set up Biz, or he got to the free throw line and finished inside quite a bit too.
Yeah, traditionally he's rolling to the rim. With Biz, Biz would be the roller, and obviously Cody's popping and able to make plays off the catch, and he did last night. Drove that thing a few times, got to the rim, got to the line, and ones, and he found Biz, his big to big buddy, or he kicked it. So I think Cody's in a nice place right now. He's playing well. give him credit for last night to step into that role. But I thought he looked very comfortable, made the right read last night, and looked, productive for us.
And we'll kind of wrap up by staying with the bigs. I was running through some numbers, and you guys lead the NBA in points per post-ups. And I don't go to it a whole lot, but why have you been successful in scoring out of the post-up?
Well, it's a number of things. I think, teams are switching us, especially PJ and Marvin. It's leaving both of them against smaller guys, which is a good matchup for us. Those are two paint or post-up threats against smaller guys. The advantages come mostly when teams switch us and we have a small against those guys. But, beyond that, I think we're playing well out of the post. We're making plays out of the post as well, not just scoring, but making passes, playing through the post a little bit more. But I think the bulk has got to be attributed to PJ and Marv posting against smalls. I think Cody's getting some of that as well as we go, especially early in transition. That early post has been really effective for us.
2-1 road trip, and now back home against Sacramento. We'll talk about the road ahead coming up in just a few moments. But first, when we come back, we'll take your questions. It's our Ask JB segment right here on Clipboard Conversations. Clipboard Conversations continues. Time to Ask JB. We thank you for sending in your questions, and don't forget, follow the Hornets across all their social media platforms. We'll be sourcing your questions throughout the week. We got a lot of questions, of course, pertaining to PJ Washington's injury, and I think the kind of the overwhelming thing, we touched on it in the trends, but just moving forward, what are some of the options here with PJ out for a couple of games?
Well, I think we'll continue to look at the starting lineup, different rotations there. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier. I think it's a combination of Cody in the mix, and we could go with Marvin. Hopefully he's back tomorrow night as well. That could be an option for us. I think Marv's someone that's off to a good start. His minutes aren't up, but he's playing at a very high level for us as well. Then we've got Miles. Miles obviously he's played a number of positions for us. The 4 is a good position for him, and with PJ out, I think Miles could slide into some of those minutes as well. So we've got a number of guys we could go to, and it's a great opportunity for one of them, if not all of them.
Is it sort of helpful for the way, we talk about positionless basketball, but you've got guys and multiple guys, and that's kind of been the goal, to bring in versatile players that can play multiple positions, that if somebody does go down, maybe this guy hasn't played a whole lot there, but the responsibilities are similar and they can slide between maybe the 3, the 4, the 4, the 5, the 1, the 2, something like that?
Yeah, I think we are. We're a little more positionless right now, and we got a number of guys that can slide between positions. And you're looking at that forward spot, it's not just our team, but throughout the league. You can slide between that 3 and the 4, or that forward spot, if you want to call it that, and do it pretty seamlessly. So, we're a versatile group. You can put MKG in there, Miles in there, Marv in there. There's a number of guys that can play, and Nick's been out as well, another versatile playmaker forward for us who's done well. So we got a number of options. We just want PJ to get healthy, get him back as soon as possible, not rush him, but this is a good opportunity for other guys to step up and earn some more minutes, and it's a good opportunity for these young guys especially. We
talk a lot about PJ's kind of mental makeup. Was he frustrated by this injury? How did he handle kind of finding that he's going to miss a couple games here?
Yeah, a very mature kid. I mean, he's not hanging his head. He knows this is just part of the process. It was frustrating early on because, but I think getting the win, that helped it a little bit. The win always helps. So as long as he understands what we have moving forward, there's a plan in place for him. Hopefully this isn't something that's going to linger too long. We'll get him right back on the floor as soon as possible. Just a great kid, very mature, and he's handled it very well.
All right, here's one that says, what are your future expectations for Dwayne Bacon? He was in the starting lineup, had the injury, kind of working his way back, and what does he need to improve on to try and get back into that rotation?
Yeah, and Bake's one of those guys we're continuing to look at and evaluate, and he's had his opportunity early in the season, and we've gone to some different lineups as of late, and that one thing with Bake is he'll stay ready, keep working. He's got great size, great physicality. He's a two-way guy. We're just going in a different direction right now. That's the biggest thing. It's nothing that he's done, and when he gets his opportunity, I expect him to play aggressively on both ends of the floor, play with great pace, attack the rim, shoot the ball with confidence, and then defend. He's capable of doing all those things. So he's someone that we value in our organization and we'll keep looking at.
And I feel like you guys have sort of fostered that makeup of being ready, staying ready. I think Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is a great example of that, maybe you're not getting the minutes now, but you never know when that opportunity is going to come, and when the opportunity is there, run with it. And he's a great example of that, and I think you could go down the line and say that you guys sort of have a culture of that.
Absolutely. I mean, we want a culture where you're staying ready. You can't play 15 guys. So when your opportunity arises, make sure you're ready to go. And our guys have pounced on these opportunities and made the most of them, I think, in general. And I'm not afraid to go into any of our players at any single time. And when that opportunity presents itself, stay ready. And from there, you never know where it's going to go. It can open up a whole new world for you. So our guys know that, especially young guys. It's not easy. It can be frustrating at times because you want to be out there playing right now, but continue to work. And that's the one thing we preach today in practice. No matter where you're at in this lineup, whether you're getting major minutes, 30, 35 minutes, or you're getting no minutes right now, stay ready, keep working. That's our culture. That's our mentality. We just got to stick with it.
We'll wrap up with this one. As a coach, how do you handle the holidays?
Well, the schedule dictates the holiday season. The schedule dictates it, but I'm aware of what the season means for all of us, and obviously we have a lot of family in town. Everybody does. It's a great time to celebrate family and connections and friends and giving back as well. That's all part of this season, and I'm very mindful of that as the head coach. And obviously we're trying to win games, and we have a schedule in front of us. But there's a big world out there. There's life beyond basketball, and I want our guys to embrace that and enjoy it. So, and then when we're in the gym, we work. Mm-hmm. But when you get home, go spend time with your family, do your thing, and my job is to help balance that throughout the season.
And speaking of the schedule dictating, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity here to spend
really
time
couldn't.
with your family.
I mean, this is one of the best I've seen for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're paying for it because we got, I think we played the most games in the NBA right now. We have 2 back-to-backs this week.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go get these and then enjoy some Christmas holiday.
Very good. We thank you all so much for your questions submitted for the Ask JB segment. When we come back, we'll talk about those back-to-backs. The road ahead is next on Clipboard Conversations. Wrapping up, as we take a look at the road ahead, you mentioned the back-to-backs, 2 of them coming up, but first, there's back-to-back days without a game. First time since November 11th and 12th.
Feels like it.
You looking forward to that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Chance to practice and
practice, breathe for a minute, really have a day that you can just breathe for a second, evaluate, reevaluate, reconnect with your family. Mm-hmm. So we're looking forward to it, but we got some work ahead of us, and that's valuable time to really get some work in for your team. Even if it's one focused day, it's a major day in practice, in developing, and growing as a team. So we look forward to getting some work in there.
What are the challenges of back-to-backs like you've got coming up where you haven't seen Cleveland? I know last week we saw Brooklyn on the second end of a back-to-back. You'd seen Brooklyn before. There's been a number of those situations, but we haven't seen Cleveland yet. So with the home game on Tuesday and Cleveland coming up on Wednesday, how do you guys make the most of your preparation for a team you haven't seen?
We'll do what we do, and I don't think there's anything tricky out there. Obviously, we want to be prepared for our opponent, but if we do what we do and we do it well, doesn't matter who we're playing. That's sort of the mentality going into a game like that. And obviously our focus right now is on that Sacramento game. If we take care of that game, it'll help us the next night. So the focus is fully put into that. I don't want anybody thinking about the next game or Cleveland. Let's worry about Sacramento right now. We'll deal with Cleveland when we get to Cleveland. And once we get there, we'll focus. Our guys are locked in right now as far as scouting reports and studying. But more than anything, it's about us, how we play, our energy, our focus, our system. If we do that, no matter where we're at, we're going to have a good opportunity to win a game.
Does it help that you've already had, I believe, 6 double-doubles up to this point, so the guys kind of understand what the second day looks like in terms of meetings and getting to the arena and that kind of stuff and focusing?
Yeah, it feels like a ton of back-to-backs, so we're in rhythm with them. This isn't going to be new to us. So this is the schedule we have that's in front of us. We're knocking out our back-to-backs hopefully right now, and we can just settle in the rest of the season. But this is a grind. I mean, this is a lot on players, and to have 2 basically within a week right here, after having played the most games in the NBA already, that's a major challenge for our group. But I'm proud of our guys, how they continue to stick with it. It's my job to manage their body and their minutes, and I think so far we've done a pretty good job with that.
Going back to that Indiana game, we saw you guys slip into zone a couple different times and had some success with that. That, I think, towards the end of the second and into the third quarter kind of helped turn the tide a little bit. How comfortable are you in jumping from man to zone, utilizing that? And is it something that you guys might look to utilize more throughout the season or just in spot situations?
It's a gut feel right now. I mean, it's not something, we're saying let's go into every game thinking we have to use it. I think our half-court man-to-man defense is getting better. I like that. I like where we're at there. We are getting better. But there's some very good teams out there that are tough. And some nights they're gonna get hot and they're gonna play well and be in rhythm against our man defense. And this is a way to flip it a little bit, make them think, make them readjust what they're trying to do offensively, and it's helped us in 2 of these last 4 games. Our zone has been good for us. We'll continue to get better at it, which I like. I think last night against Indy, we even took a step forward from what how we used it in our efficiency, even when you look back to the Brooklyn game. So I think it's something we'll continue to look at, but I don't want to use it as a crutch. Every night we have to go to this to be a good defensive team. I want to make sure our half-court defense is our priority.
All right, you've got the Sacramento Kings coming in. Already saw them once this season. As you look at Sacramento, kind of what's a big key? They're playing well. They've won 4 out of 5 going into this game.
Yeah, I think, looking back at that game, we turned it over a lot up in Sacramento. I think we've settled down a little bit more offensively, so making sure we take care of the ball. I think winning the paint's going to be a major focus for us. I thought we did a good job up there. Winning the paint, being a physical team inside and having presence inside. Then you got to get to the shooters. This is a very good shooting team. And we could go down the list of all their shooters, but this is a top-tier shooting team. So we got to do a good job protecting the paint, but also getting out to shooters, making sure we know and understand who those main threats are, and making sure we're running them off the three-point line.
Going to be fun seeing 2 of the top three-point shooters in the game, and Devontae Graham and Buddy Hield on the floor on Tuesday. Get your tickets at Hornets.com. Coach, happy holidays. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
That is Clipboard Conversations. We'll talk to you again next week right here on Hornets.com.